conceptualizing how to actually turn negative thoughts into positive ones and understanding that negativity is a matter of a subjective point of view rather than a fact is very important. Also, recognizing that it is important to understand that what we consider to be a negative thing is part of the complete totality of all experiences. In other words, that negativity is in fact part of the equation when turning something into a positive way of thinking. So, though you may conceptualize this understanding, and it's important to continue to contemplate and meditate on this process, right? On this thought of understanding that negative thinking, negativity in itself is part of the spectrum that we experience when we think about negativity versus positivity. That in fact, it is one and the same. It's just one side of the coin, right? One side or one extreme of the spectrum rather than positivity being the other side of the extreme. And in reality, we fluctuate in between, right? But ultimately, you want to think and understand that what we consider to be negative is in fact positive when we twist and look at it from a different point of view, right? From a different perspective. So now we're going to get into different techniques to help you and support you into really being that, right? You can question it, you can even know and understand the concept, but then there is something else to actually practice it and be that in situations, right, throughout life. And so I'm going to go over a few things that I commonly mention as far as powerful techniques when it comes to any kind of transformation or the self realization of who you truly are. But we're going to make sure that we direct these techniques toward actually transforming and shifting negative thoughts into positive thoughts. So the first thing we want to do is be mindful. The practice of mindfulness is imperative with all things on this spiritual journey. You have to be mindful about everything, right? Because mindfulness is, in fact, the tool that is just imperative when it comes to spirituality. Being able to actually observe and think about your thoughts, right? To actually witness your thoughts. And when I say think about your thoughts, what I mean is analyze your thoughts, to take the most objective you can possibly take of looking at what your thoughts are and how they align with who you know yourself to be. And when I say know yourself to be, what I mean is your desire to be somebody, your desire to do a certain thing, your desire to be a certain type of person is really your desire to be who you truly are, because you don't really want to be somebody else. You don't really want to be something that you are not already. What this journey is about is coming into the understanding and pulling away the excess or the things that are blocking you from being your true self. So mindfulness is very key because mindfulness really allows you to take a step back and observe yourself from a point of view of not really being in it. Because sometimes when we're in the puzzle, we can't actually see where our turns and what directions we're taking and doing is actually leading us. But when we take a step outside of ourselves, then we can get a view, an advantage point from above where we can actually observe and say, okay, well, this way of thinking, these emotions, right? They do not align directly with the direction that I wish to go. And it doesn't come from a place of judgment or shame or feeling guilty about your thoughts, right? And your reactions or your emotions, but it simply gives you an opportunity to take a realistic viewpoint as to, okay, these are the things that I tend to do. These are my patterns. These are the things that I tend to think about. This is the direction that I tend to go in. And then you can ask yourself, well, does this really align and will this actually lead me to the goals and the desires and the way of being that I wish to have? And so that is your opportunity then to make a decision, right? To begin breaking down, okay, this way of being that I'm currently living in is not going to result in the desire that I have. And so now you have to make a change. Okay. So mindfulness is very key towards that. You want to be mindful. You want to be able to look at what's going on right now and to objectively, as much as possible, right? Because true, complete 100% objectivity is impossible. There's always going to be a subjective point of view toward everything that you're looking at. And that's okay, because that means that there is life in what it is that you're looking at. There is purpose behind what you're looking at. There is intention behind what you're looking at, okay, and what you're doing. So mindfulness is very important, is very key. The next thing is affirming and reframing. So affirmations are very important. Stating what it is that you desire as if it is already, right? As if it already exists. Stating who it is you quote unquote wish to be or truly are as if you're already being that person. Being mindful of your speech. Your speech is very important. Remember that your words are actually the first thing that actually represents the materialization of your thoughts into this physical realm. You see, your thoughts, they stay here in the physical realm, right? Which is the most powerful realm to come from. But when you actually begin to speak, you are actually sending out a vibration into the universe for the universe to receive and even for people to hear and receive. More importantly, for yourself to hear and receive. So as you speak things, you are not only speaking it into the universe, but you are speaking it into yourself because you are the first person that's actually hearing those words. You see? So there's a frequency that comes with that, right? Your voice, the words coming out of your mouth are all frequencies. They are a vibration. So you have to be mindful about making sure that your words align with that which you desire. So if we're talking about negative thoughts, then we have to be mindful that the words that we are speaking aren't negative. You see, you have to speak positivity into what you're doing, even if what you're doing right now is difficult or a challenge to you at the moment, that's okay. But be mindful, just pause and really think about what it is you're saying before you actually say it out loud. You may have to say it in your mind first and then even question, okay, is this an empowering statement? Is this statement actually creating more negativity? Because when you speak it, right, again, you are reaffirming it in your mind, you are putting it out into the universe, people are receiving it and making that as part of your identity. So you have to really understand the power of your speech. Speak in terms of already, what it is you desire as if it already is in the present moment. And I know sometimes that can be tricky because, say, if your mind, you are creating, say, financial freedom, right? And you say, okay, I have $1 million. To actually speak that out loud and speak that amongst people who know your financial, situation, they're going to look at you like you don't have $1 million, right? They're going to think you're crazy because you keep saying that you have $1 million, but yet their reality and their point of view of you, their perspective of you is that you don't have $1 million, right? So you have to be mindful and you have to be really strategic about how you communicate and how you communicate, not so much to yourself, because to yourself, you can communicate all those thoughts, all those emotions, all those feelings, all those words that affirm your desire. But when coming and talking to other people and communicating with other people, you have to be mindful about communicating to those who understand the language you are speaking, who understand the affirmations that you are stating, you see. And then we have to get into reframing. So reframing is about changing your idea of negative thinking, negativity, and recognizing that negativity is simply a perspective and that you have to change your perspective by just changing your point of view as to what and how you see the situation. Okay. And that just takes practice and recognizing that, okay, to you at this current moment where you were, You saw something as negative because it wasn't ideal for you. It didn't fit your expectation or what you desired and how you desired to play out. But when you recognize, okay, you don't have all of the wisdom and knowledge available to you in your conscious mind, and that you have to trust your super conscious mind, right? Your divine mind, which many times you cannot tap into directly. You have to simply trust and to let it take over and just simply go with the process of you just understanding this is what you desire, and you are going to take the step that you can take right now. You're going to be in action with what you can do right now, with what is available to you right now, and simply move forward in that. And then everything will reveal itself as you continue to go on the journey of materializing that thing. So, reframing is about changing your point of view and recognizing that something that was once a negative thing, when looked at from a different point of view, or even looked at from a standpoint of seeing not just where it started and ended, from a time frame, but seeing that as you continue to go on the journey of where it will unravel and what will reveal itself, you recognize that, okay, there is something more to be experienced from this particular thing, this particular idea, this particular thing that you set in motion to create, right? It's like when people start a business, when people, start to write a book or they start a challenge, they hit a point where it is very, very difficult. And it almost seems like they're not going to make it, right? That they're going to quit. But then something happens, a breakthrough happens where they get a burst of energy, they get a burst of inspiration, they make a breakthrough in their career, right? Whether it be their music career or being an actor or being an artist, right? Being a creator. Somehow they make some breakthrough just right before they were about to quit or right before things got tough, right? They just continued on. And thus, that created a sense of reframing and changing the dynamic of how they approach challenges. Recognizing, for me, what I understand is that when things get the most difficult, that is when the breakthrough, that is when the success happens right on the other side of that challenge. And you just simply have to keep going, right? You just simply have to keep going and don't sway or be convinced that this is a sign the universe is trying to tell you to stop. What it is a sign of is that the universe is telling you that you're almost there. So you just have to keep going in order to materialize and prove yourself worthy and show that you are committed and convinced, right? That this is yours. And it's just as simple as that. When you are convinced and you know that this is yours and this is your purpose, then you can go into another space, another realm, another plateau or a plane, a peak. And once you hit that peak, it's difficult in the beginning, but then once you break through it, then you reach a plane or an existence that is new to you. Okay. Now, the final thing I really want to get into is this understanding and this idea of distilling your thoughts from your emotions. So many times when we do stuff, or when there's an opportunity to do something, or you have come to a fork where you have a decision to make along your journey, there are times where you feel like you simply just don't want to do it, or you feel like you can't do it, right? A lot of times on the journey, when it comes to the way of thinking that you have, you reach a point where you decide or you feel like you just don't want to do something. And many times a thought hasn't been associated with that feeling. You just recognize that, okay, I just don't want to do it, or that's not for me, or I'm not built for that, right? It can be public speaking, it can be taking up a challenge like running a marathon, it can be writing a book, it can be, being in a relationship with somebody, right? It can be having a child. It can be various things. But then you reach a point where you just decide, you know what? No. But yet you haven't identified why you're saying no. It is important, and this is a part connected with mindfulness. where you actually have to identify why you're saying no. This is what I mean by distilling, right? Your thoughts from the emotion or the reaction. Because many times we stop ourselves from doing something that is going to create the breakthrough in our lives because we are resistant to the change and we're scared to actually make the shift. Okay, because you have to do something different in order to create something different. You cannot do the same things that you've been doing in order to create something new. So if you are living a certain way, it may be because you're having negative emotions and negative thoughts around changing to something different to create something different, right? Which is what you truly desire. So here's where the work happens. You have to understand that as you move forward with goals and ideas and passions that you wish to explore and create for yourself, you're going to have to face a lot of these blockages that will challenge who you currently are, right? Or really who you once were. Because now we're talking about being who you truly are. We're talking about transformation. We're talking about change. And so you have a pattern of things that you've been doing. Okay. You've been going to work, you've been going to school, you've been doing this and doing that. Right. And now that you recognize and you own the fact that you have to change the way you've been living in order to get the things that you desire, you're going to face a lot of blocks because now you have to do something different to be different, right? To result in something different. And many times when things come to you, opportunities come to you because the universe is communicating and reciprocating that which you desire and you're putting out to it, you're going to be faced with recognizing when you are fearful, when you are doubtful, when you are insecure, when you're feeling inadequate. And you're going to have to ask yourself, okay, why don't I want to do this? Why do I fear this? Many times people don't ask that question. They just simply react. Oh no, I'm not going to do public speaking. Oh no, I can't write a book. Oh no, I can't even walk a mile, let alone run a full marathon, right? All the stories, all the excuses come up. And then it stops there for many people. And then you stop there. But now you have to go deeper into it. Why, right? Why do you tell yourself that? How? How can you actually get it done? How can you actually create that, do that, be that? Okay, those are the questions you have to ask yourself. So you have to take these reflexes that has been programmed into your subconscious mind as a way of consistently being, and you have to distill that and pull away the simple reaction and just the trigger and just the existence of it just telling you what to be and stopping there and not moving forward through, who you once was to who you truly are. And then really ask yourself, okay, why am I telling myself I can't do this? Why are you telling yourself it is hard, it is difficult, it is impossible? Why are you telling yourself you don't have the time? How do you make the time is the questions you should ask yourself. How can you do this with what you have? It's not a matter of if, it's simply a matter of deciding and then just letting your mind figure out the solution to the problem, which is how. It is a matter of using your mind to use your imagination to create solutions to what you have created as a blockage in your past life. Okay, because now we're talking about creating a new life, a new existence, a new reality based off who you truly are. So you want to learn how to distill the thought and recognize that what once stopped you and you just accept it as an excuse, as a blockage, can now be a tool for you to figure out the answers, right? Come to solutions, take you to the next step. But all it takes is just practicing mindfulness, trusting in yourself, having faith in the universe and your oneness with the universe, and simply following through with who you truly are. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to this free ebook and so much more. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.